Hello, grade 10 learners. How are you? It's been a while since my last upload, and I hope you are all okay. You're all safe there and happy at the same time. So, this time we will be talking about or discuss about topics about macromolecules. And at the end of this lesson, you will be able to enumerate the four macromolecules. That's number one objective. Second objective is you are going to discuss the functions and structures of macromolecules. Third, you are going to identify the monomers of the macromolecules. And also, you're going to discuss how macromolecules are formed and separated. So those are the objectives that we will be dealing this time. Right. I have a very interesting question. When was the last time you have eaten a burger? Maybe from Angel's Burger, McDonald's, Jollibee, or wherever. Okay, me, I had mine last week, and I am again craving for another one. And did you know that this burger contains macromolecules? Are you familiar with the word macromolecule? What are these macromolecules? This time, in this lesson, video lesson, we will enumerate and we will understand what are these macromolecules. This burger contains different macromolecules, such as carbohydrates, proteins, and lipids. Example, when you eat the bun of that burger, it contains carbohydrates in a form of starches, and they are a very good source of energy, right? Another one you can find in a burger are the lettuce or any vegetables, and they contain cellulose or sugars, which is also a good source of energy. And my favorite part, the meat, okay, they contain protein, in which they also perform functions such as for the structures, and they also carry out tasks, different tasks inside your body. And another one is lipids, or which is also or actually the oil, and they are a very good source of energy, storage, insulation, and protection. I want you to write this down. The big four macromolecules. We have carbohydrates, lipids, proteins, and nucleic acids. But in this lesson, we will only focus on the two big macromolecules, which are the first two. We have the carbohydrates and lipids. Before you can understand the topics in this unit, there are some vocabulary or terminologies that you need to know. I want you to remember these words. We have macromolecule, polymer, monomer. What are these words? What is a macromolecule? What do these words mean? We have the micro and the macro. Okay, how do they differ? The micro and the macro. So what is a macromolecule? They are actually the very large molecules consisting of many smaller structural units called monomers, which are linked together to form polymers. And these macromolecules, or known as biological macromolecules, are made up of a small number of elements. And I want you to memorize them. We have carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, and phosphorus, or John P. Okay, remember that words. Next word is polymer. What is this polymer? Poly, in your mathematics, you have polygons. You have also polygamy, polyester, right? So poly actually means many. Okay, that. I want you to remember that word. Poly means many. What does mono mean now? Means one. So when someone says mono, that means one. So here are some analogies to better understand what polymers and monomers are. Look at the table. These are some examples or few examples of a polymer. We have a train, a necklace. I have a question. If the train is the whole polymer, what would be the small groups that make up the train? If the necklace is the polymer, what are the monomers that make up the necklace? Can you think of the monomers of a train and a necklace? Here's the answer. A train is composed of several or different cars connected or linked together. That makes a train. How about necklace? When you have several pearls, when you group them together or attach them or in one string, you can actually create a necklace. So by looking at this table, we can say that the monomer are the basic units to create a polymer. So poly means many, monomer means the individuality or the individual uh, pieced to create a polymer. Now, you and a buddy, I want you to think about these two other analogies for a polymer and its monomers. So you can actually find a lot of examples or analogies you can find around you, even in your house, which can represent or which represents polymers and monomers. That is your task. Number one. What is these organic compounds? They are compounds that contain carbon. So we call them organic compounds. So everything that contains carbon is called organic compounds. How about these macromolecules? They are large organic molecules. Carbon has 4 electrons in outer shell, valence electron, and they can form covalent bonds with as many as 4 other atoms or elements. And usually they bond with carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, or nitrogen. Example, we have the methane, the CH4. 4. So macromolecules are large organic molecules which contains carbon, as I have said, and they are also called polymers. They are made up of smaller building blocks called monomers. Example, we have carbohydrates, lipids, proteins, and nucleic acids. Examples are the DNA and RNA. So I want you to remember or memorize these macromolecules. We have CLPN or carbohydrates, lipids, proteins, and nucleic acids. Question: how are macromolecules are formed? This is a very important question that I want you to answer. We have the so-called polymerization or known as dehydration synthesis. What happened in this process? They forms polymers by combining monomers through removing water. Look at the illustration below. Here, the original structure. This is the original structure in the first, let me show you the laser pointer here. This is the original structure of a carbon compound. Now, after dehydration synthesis, what happened here in dehydration synthesis, it removes water, so H2O, 2 atoms of hydrogen and 1 atom of oxygen. So after that, another molecule is formed, and that allows the formation of macromolecules. This process is called as polymerization or dehydration synthesis. Another question: how are macromolecules are separated or digested? Answer is, example of that process is hydrolysis. What happened during hydrolysis is that it separates monomers by adding water. So earlier, the one that is responsible for the formation of the macromolecules is by removing the water, and it creates a molecule. Okay, here, through hydrolysis, it actually, separates monomers by what? By adding water. So in this case, in this compound, a water is added or H2O is added, and what happened? It separates the compound. So that is a process, an example process that actually separates macromolecules. This is known as hydrolysis. Now, let's talk number one, the first molecule, the carbohydrates. So these carbohydrates are small sugar molecules up to large sugar molecules. Examples are monosaccharide, disaccharide, polysaccharide. Okay, first under carbohydrates is the monosaccharide. Mono means one, means that there is only one sugar unit or monomer. So therefore, the monomer of carbohydrates is monosaccharide. Okay, it comes in a ratio in a 1:2:1 ratio. Examples are glucose, C6H12O2. Another example is deoxyribose, ribose, fructose, and galactose. Another carbohydrates is known as disaccharide. Di means two sugar units. Di means two. So therefore, disaccharide is a two sugar units. Examples are sucrose. Sucrose is a combination of glucose and fructose. We have also lactose, which is a combination of glucose plus galactose. And we have also maltose, which is a combination of glucose plus glucose. This is an example. This structure below and this slide is an example of disaccharide. Another one under carbohydrates are polysaccharides, meaning poly means many sugar units. Examples are starch, the one that examples starch from in the bread or potatoes. We have also glycogen in the beef muscle and cellulose in the lettuce or corn, yung mais. So this is an example of cellulose, okay, composed of different glucose molecules, okay. Glucose is a monosaccharide. Many monosaccharide, that is polysaccharide. This structure below is an example, shows you the structure of how cellulose looks like. So this is the structure of glucose. This is a single unit. Actually, this is a monomer of a carbohydrate. Okay, a simple carbohydrate, single unit. This is monosaccharide. And when you complex them or when you combine them, you are actually creating a complex carbohydrates made up of different monomers. Okay, ito yung carbohydrates made of several monomers of glucose or simple carbohydrates. Now list this down. The functions of carbohydrates. There are two most important functions of carbohydrates. Number one, they provides immediate energy. So that is why kung wala kang kain, hindi ka kumakain ng yung mga pagkain na very good source ng carbohydrates, malamang matamlay ka, wala kang gana, wala kang hindi ka energetic because these carbohydrates provides immediate energy. Kaya nga pag mayroon kang trabaho sa bahay or meron kang gagawin na nangangailangan ng a lot of energy, you need to eat a lot, okay? And eat a lot of foods that contain carbohydrates. And they also functions as a structure for cell membranes in plants. Now let's proceed to lipids, the second macromolecule. What are these lipids? They are the general term for compounds which are not soluble in water. So meaning they are hydrophobic. Meaning hydrophobic, natatakot sila sa water. Kaya nga, pag i-combine mo yung water plus oil, hindi talaga yan sila mag-mix because oil is a hydrophobic. Okay? Yung takot sila sa tubig. Meaning they will not mix with water. Okay? That is hydrophobic means. So therefore, they are soluble in hydrophobic solvents. Okay? And remember, stores the most energy. Okay, examples are fats, phospholipids, oils, waxes, steroid hormones, and triglycerides. Okay, familiar tayo sa mga terms, right? So there are 6 functions of lipids. Number 1, they are the great source of stored energy, so we have it in the future. Kaya nga pag sabi nila, It's better na mataba ka kaysa payat kasi pag wala ka nang makain, you have your fats na to provide energy for you, which is very ano naman, tama siya na logic, na thinking. So, in case, for example, if I am oversized, okay, or I have a lot of fats nakastore sa body ko, and when I do fasting, meaning ayaw ko mag-intake ng food for several days, my body will use this energy from the fats, okay, to provide energy for my body. So yun kaya pumapayat tayo. Okay? And they also are good insulator for the body of the body to protect against heat loss. And they also serve as caution for the internal organs, and that is for protection. And they produce hormones for the body called steroids. Okay, you will discuss this in the future in your biology class. And they will serve as waterproof in the surfaces of animals, as waxy coating on fruit or earwax. And lastly, they are the major components of membranes or phospholipid bilayers. Okay, in your cell, uh, the cell membrane, the outside guard or yung parang fence sa membrane nyo, they are made of phospholipid bilayer. So you'll understand them later on when you study biology. All right, what is the monomer of lipids? Remember this, the monomer is triglycerides. They're composed of one glycerol and three fatty acids. So this is the structure of a lipid. So this is your glycerol, okay, connected to three fatty acids. This is one fatty acid, second fatty acid, and this is the third fatty acid. This is kink. We call this kink. Parang yung nag-ano siya. Parang ang isa kulot or yung hindi siya tuwid yung isang fatty acid. And this, we have two different types of fatty acids. Number one is saturated fatty acids, meaning wala siyang double bonds. And we have also unsaturated fatty acids, meaning may double bonds siya. So as you can see, yung saturated, puro single bond siya. Wala siyang double bond compared sa unsaturated fatty acid. Sabi ng science, it's very good to use non-saturated or unsaturated fatty acids. And that is your assignment. I want you to list down all the products which are unsaturated fatty acids, which are supposed to be used in cooking or in sa food natin. So we need to practice for our health to use unsaturated fatty acids because they are very good for our body compared to saturated fatty acids. And I want you to look at the different products which are actually saturated and also those products which which are unsaturated fatty acids. Well done. We are done discussing the first two macromolecules. We have the carbohydrates, and the second one are the lipids. Now, I want you to get your notebook and write 1 to 5. This is a multiple choice, 5-item multiple choice quiz, and you'll only write letters or which corresponds to the correct answer. And in the last item, 5, you're going to draw. Okay? Para ma-exercise yung mga kamay nyo. Number 1, which of the following is not a macromolecule? A, lipid, B, carbohydrates, C, protein, or D, triglycerides. Number 2, which of the following is a process that enables the formation of macromolecules? A, phagocytosis, B, hydrolysis, C, polymerization, or D, respiration. Third, what is the monomer of carbohydrates? A, monosaccharide, B, fatty acid, C, DNA, or D, amino acid. Number 4, a macromolecule composed of one glycerol and 3 fatty acids. A, lipid, B, carbohydrates, C, protein, or letter D, nucleic acid. And for the last item, you're going to draw a simple structure of carbohydrates. Okay, it can be a monomer or monosaccharide, a disaccharide. If you want a very challenging drawing, you can draw a polysaccharide composed of different monosaccharide. All right. And I want you to submit that through Messenger. And if you cannot submit this through Messenger or online platforms, you can actually submit this on site every Wednesday. All right. Now, as your assignment, I want you to complete this concept map by using the words on the top of that concept map. Fill in the correct words or terms, okay, in order to complete the concept map. Okay, you can have a screenshot for this so that you can uh, check on this even if you are offline. I think that's all for today. I hope we have a very productive and very meaty discussion this day. And if you have some questions, you can private message me, or you can post questions on the video or in the comment section below. Thank you very much, and God bless.